afternoon from Los Angeles, and welcome to Stock Market Today, sponsored by Interactive Brokers. On today's show, we're going to be taking a look at the charts of Taiwan Semiconductor, as well as Northrop Grumman and Beyond Meat. Moving on some news today. But first, let's take a look at the major indexes. It's Alyssa Quorum here with Ken Shreve. And Ken, we're still seeing a lot of sensitivity to headlines in the broad markets. The NASDAQ closing down about 0.6% as it continues to try to fight for that 50-day line.
Yeah, NASDAQ still having some problems around its 50-day moving average. Tech stocks lagged for most of the session. During the final hour of trading, we saw the market start to move off lows, but looks like the NASDAQ's going to end with a loss of about 0.6%, 0.6%. You can see a daily chart here of the NASDAQ. Nice move, just to close just above the 50-day moving average on Wednesday, so it's still trying to find some support here. Interesting that selling pressure was more muted in the Dow and the S&P 500 today. Both of those indexes are still holding comfortably above their 50-day lines.
That's right. Well, we are seeing some bright spots in the market, notably a move by Taiwan Semiconductor. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that chart. The ticker there is TSM, a pretty big move here. Ken, what do you make of the action?
Well, we've seen, chip equipment stocks acting well in recent weeks. Some breakouts among semiconductor equipment firms. Taiwan Semiconductor is a chip maker. Haven't seen many breakouts among chip makers, but this was just a good heavy volume move over a 44.98 buy point today for Taiwan Semiconductor. So a lot of headlines attributing the NASDAQ's weakness to weakness in semiconductor stocks. I'm not sure that was really the case. I mean, the semiconductor index and the SMH, which is a very liquid semiconductor ETF, losses were at worst mostly in line with the NASDAQ today. But so good sign of strength by Taiwan Semiconductor today. Good solid breakout in heavy volume. That's important.
Yes, very important. And we are seeing that stock still within buy range. So it was able to close the session within that 5% buy zone. That is also notable as well, and hitting its highest level in quite a while here, essentially since January 2018.
Yeah, definitely. And also important, a breakout from an early stage base. We're not looking at a stock that has just gone gangbusters for many, many months and many years. It's an early stage breakout here for Taiwan Semiconductor, and those can be some of the best breakouts.
All right, well, let's contrast that move with a move by Northrop Grumman today. It also poking into a buy zone, but this one moving in light volume versus the heavy volume, as you mentioned, that we saw for Taiwan Semiconductor.
Yeah, defense contractors like Northrop Grumman have been leading the market for quite some time. The aerospace defense group at last check was inside the top 10 in our 197 industry group rankings based on 6-month price performance. So you had a nice reclaiming of a 377.44 buy point for Northrop Grumman today. Again, no specific news fueling the move, but it is back above that buy point. In buy range with the market uptrend under a little bit of pressure here. Not much volume behind the breakout today, so that is in contrast to what we just looked at with Taiwan Semiconductor. But this is just a stock that reclaimed the buy point and a healthy relative strength line. So there is some things to like about Northrop.
Yeah, and we are always looking for stocks that come from strong industry groups and sectors, and it's no doubt that the aerospace and defense sector has shown a lot of strength this year. It's
been doing well for a little while, but it continues to do well and continues to show relative strength in the market. And again, a healthy relative strength line for Northrop Grumman tells you that. And it was a good solid move and close near highs. Would have been better to see a little better volume for Northrop, but still a good reclaiming of the buy point today.
All right. Well, in IPO news, of course, lots of people talking about the Peloton IPO, but elsewhere in new issues, Beyond Meat rising today on news that McDonald's is going to start testing a PLT, as in plant lettuce tomato burger, using the Beyond Meat burger in Canada. So Beyond Meat forging continuing to forge these relationships in the fast food industry?
Well, I think everyone was wondering, Wall Street was wondering when a deal with McDonald's was going to be announced, and it's kind of a minor situation at this point, just sort of a soft test in Canada, 28 locations that's going to start pretty soon. So a lot of optimism about growth at Beyond Meat. Big revenue growth. They're going to turn profitable not too long from now, but there's a lot of optimism about growth prospects. It was a big winner since its IPO. It did recently pull back about 42%, which is a bit steep, and it's still below its 50-day moving average. But a good move for the stock today. I would still call it a technically challenged stock here with Beyond Meat below its 50-day moving average. So it'll be a little while longer before we see a good buy point emerge. It's first going to have to get back above that 50-day moving average with conviction. That would improve the technical picture.
Yes, that's right. But notable that this 11% gain today came in the stock's strongest volume since about early August. So looks like there is a little bit of institutional support behind today's move. But as you said, the true test will be that 50-day, and if it can actually start forming a base from here.
Well, you can see it recently rallied to about 172, 173, and then it got turned away at the 50-day moving average. So it looks like a ceiling for now, a resistance level to watch, but a move back above the 50-day moving average. We'll see if it can start working on the right side of a base here and get closer to that 200 level. Yeah,
that's right. And quickly, as you mentioned, this has been a pretty big winner since it went public, which is why it's so important to buy these IPO stocks right from the very beginning, looking at those IPO bases, because it did form an IPO base with a buy point at 85.55, and it's trading at 154 right now.
Yeah, it was a big winner in the IPO market, and so again, the 42% pullback, considering the amount that it rose from the IPO, probably not all that extreme, but we'll see if it can form the right side of a base here, and maybe we'll get another opportunity to nibble at shares.
Yeah, that's right. We'll see what happens, but in the meantime, we do want to let you know that we have a new episode of the Investing with IBD podcast out now. This week, we talked all about the, sorry, I had a mind snafu. Hopefully you guys can still hear me there. But on the podcast, Arusha talked about quant trading and automating the trading process, which we have a lot of rules. So automating parts of your trading process is seeing those rules in action. So a very interesting discussion. You can head to investors.com/podcast for that. And of course, we will have another episode of the Investing Strategies show coming up next Monday. So head to investors.com/investing strategies for all the details on that. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow to cap off the week.